Let's review Gladiator Part 2. Okay, so Ridley Scott's follow-up to his Oscar-winning Gladiator, the film where Russell Crowe infamously won an Academy Award and would bring it out on stage when him and his rock group were performing. Yeah, that happened. Unlike the newest Matrix film, it still makes sense to have made it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make sense to make the new Matrix film, but it made sense to make this. They were able to continue the storyline pretty well. They were able to tie everything in. You didn't have to see the first one to know what was going on, but it does help. It has really good action in it. It has a pretty good story. Do I think it's as good as the original? I don't know. I mean, like, it's definitely bigger, it's definitely grander, and it's definitely more epic, but that's because it can be. Like, nothing is real in this movie. You can tell, like, everything is just CGI. Like, they're probably in a studio with a very small set, and then everything around them is just CGI. And I thought about it when I saw the ships at the beginning. I was like, there was a time when they had to build those ships, or at least one ship, and then duplicate the ship in the scene, but they don't have to do that anymore. So films can be as epic as they want them to be in scale. But that begs the question, is it really epic, or did you just put a lot of CGI in the film? Do you know what I mean? But I liked it. I thought everyone did a good job. All the actors are good. Paul Mescal, I don't know who he is. I don't know that I've seen him in anything else, but he does a pretty good job in this. I like that he's Maximus's son. I like Pedro Pascal's character. He's sort of like, what if Maximus would have continued doing what he did instead of going home to his family? You know what I mean? Like, Pedro Pascal's character is the general that didn't get sold into slavery. And you get to see from a slave's perspective of how they view these Roman generals, whereas in the first one, Maximus was the good guy, where in this one, the general can be looked upon as the bad guy, even though he's not a bad person because of what he's been told to do. Do you know what I mean? So I like that there's some conflict between the new gladiator and the general. There are a lot of moving pieces in this, and you don't necessarily have to pay attention that well, but you should, or you might be a little lost. So let's do the breakdown. Okay, so the good. It looks great. It's well acted. It's well written. The action scenes are cool. The fight scenes are pretty good. The story is as good as it could be, I guess. For a follow-up, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. The bad, so this is going to be a little weird for some, but to me, having Denzel Washington in this film doesn't help or elevate the film. I think he does a good job. Like, he's a great actor. But he's ultimately the villain in the film, and I just couldn't bring myself to vilify him. Like, I couldn't see him as the villain, even though he's clearly the villain. Like, he starts off not clearly the villain, and then he becomes the villain. And I'm like, even when that happens, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't really, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care. Denzel? I'm not supposed to like Denzel? Like, even in Training Day, it was the same way, like, he was a villain in Training Day, right? And I just couldn't bring myself to hate him as much as I was supposed to. And in this film, it's the same way. Maybe had he done some more dastardly deeds, it would have pushed him across the line, but I can't help but see Denzel when I see him. It'd probably be the same way if it was Morgan Freeman or, Tommy Lee Jones or, someone else of this caliber, someone that we've been watching for so many years that it'd be hard. Like, if Clint Eastwood was the villain in a film, you'd be like, no, he's not. That's freaking Clint Wood, bro. So it's the same way with Denzel. Was he miscast? I don't know that he was miscast. I just think that this film needed a villain for everyone to hate. You don't want to love to hate him. I think you needed to hate him, and I don't know that I did. The unclean, there's nothing, unclean about it. There's a little bit of gore and stuff, but of course there's Romans fighting in an arena, chopping people's heads off and stuff. So it gets a horns up from me. Definitely go ahead and check it out, especially if you like the first one. you're not going to be blown away by this. You're not going to turn this off and say, man, that was one of the best films I've ever seen, but it's definitely worth a watch, and you won't want your time back. You're not going to be wasting your time by watching this, even though it's, you know, what, 2.5 hours long. So just kind of sit and enjoy the scenery and enjoy the acting and enjoy the story and the nostalgia that you're going to have from being able to watch a follow-up so many years later. So yeah, Ridley Scott's Gladiator Part 2. Stream it now, and thanks for watching Chomp Flicks. Snitchy bitches.